The Romantic era began in the late 18th century. The era related to Romanticism, the art and literary movement that arose in the second half of the century. Music of the time became more expressive and emotional, a direct revolt against the strict rules of the classical period. Established scientific theories were challenged, formality was opposed, and conventions were thrown out the window. Composers became inspired by their own imagination, passion, and nature. Spookier, scarier themes rose, and music was heavily influenced by the supernatural.
You'll float too.
On top of that, a strong sense of national identity began to appear, with themes dealing with social and political issues. Germany was a big center of musical activity during the Romantic period. And let me stress, there was a lot of musical activity. Composers began writing for public concerts and festivals with large numbers of paying customers. As a result, there was a big status shift for composers. They became artists in their own right. And whoo boy, were there a lot of them. So many, in fact, that you may need some help in catching their names because, hey, after all, you gotta catch them all.
Okay, guys, we gotta ramp some romantic composers. You just do the singing, I'll take care of the hard part. Let's get it on.
You gotta be the best you can be, and cram for the test of music history.
Mendelssohn, Bruckner, Mahler, Puccini, Debussy, Dvorak, Strauss, Bellini, Fauré, Sibelius, Grieg, Tchaikovsky, Brahms, Rachmaninoff, Saint-Saëns, Verdi.
About the names who wrote pieces and songs, the Romantic era game, yeah, you can't get it wrong.
Beethoven, Schubert, Berlioz, Chopin, Wagner, Foster, Franck, Schumann, Dukas, Liszt, Offenbach, Czerny, Lalo, Bruckner, Smetana, Paganini.
Catch 'em, gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all, composers.
Beethoven was noted for the use of dissonance in his music during the Romantic period. Schubert wrote 600 Lieder, or German art songs. Chopin wrote beautiful character pieces for the piano. Schumann wrote pieces for the piano as well, and they were mostly performed by his wife, Clara. Berlioz wrote his famous Symphonie Fantastique for a stage actress he fell in love with, but couldn't be with. Liszt developed the symphonic poem. Verdi wrote operas with patriotic themes. Wagner composed musical dramas with larger orchestras and musical themes in his operas. And Dukas? Well, he's famous for a very special mouse who likes to be a magician. Instrumental concerts became a key part of middle-class society. There was a dramatic expansion in the size of the orchestra. This was largely due to the Industrial Revolution. There were vast improvements in valves and keys that brass and woodwind instruments used. As a result, instruments were played with greater ease and were more reliable. Instruments were pushed to play higher and lower, louder and softer. The piano was still king, but underwent many upgrades and changes. We saw the introduction of the contrabassoon, bass clarinet, and piccolo. We also saw the addition of the xylophone, harp, triangle, and the celeste, made famous by Russian composer Tchaikovsky in his ballet suite, The Nutcracker. New instrumental pieces included the nocturne, etude, arabesque, and Rhapsody.
I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, will you do the fandango?
No, not that Rhapsody. Plus, composers were learning to write for characters and ideas with the use of leitmotif, something we see to this day in movie music. Continuing from the classical period, solo vocalists began to work on song cycles, or small groups of songs that are aligned with a common theme. Opera became much more down-to-earth in verismo opera, which told stories that reflected everyday life.
And to make a long story short, too late.
Rules bad, emotion good.
In a glass case of emotion.
Science out, ghosts and spooky stuff in. Everybody and anybody composed music.
Pikachu?
Germany was popular. Leitmotif brought themes to characters and places in program music. The orchestra became louder, higher, lower, softer. Verismo opera was just opera singers singing loudly about ordinary people.